crypto people? It is the crypto siege with another day in the crazy life that is the digital asset space. Good morning. Happy Monday to you. I have to tell you, it's an interesting time in the digital asset space. Wow. We see the gains. Like we've talked about this on the channel before. One of the most difficult things to do as an XRP hodler is to see the other altcoins making moves, providing gains, and to see XRP just go sideways, even go down a little bit, right? That is a very difficult thing. Is it not? It truly is a very, very difficult thing. I've seen so many things on Twitter, right? Everybody's paying attention to Link. Link has done some stuff, right? 644% gains. I saw somebody, I think it might've been Crypto Mike maybe, who had that. So very, very interesting thing, right? And so that is the challenge. That is the thing. And we talk about this on the channel all the time, right? And so here's the thing I'll say to that, and then I'll go on to some of the news. But, you know, listen, XRP, everybody knows it's a top shelf project, right? No one can argue the fundamentals. We got TA guys touting the fundamentals and the partnerships, right? That never changes, but it's at the top of the shelf. It really is. Why is that? Because it causes you to stretch to get to it. All the best things in life are top shelf. And it's gonna require you to stretch, to hold on to it. That's how this market goes. But we have data. We have historical data that says that the XRP tends to move last, but move the largest. It tends to move last, but move the largest. We've also talked about in this channel as well. Look, you know, we say, you know, especially on Generational Wealth Wednesdays, every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we always talk about the fact that, you set a goal. What's your XRP, your milestone goal? Do you have one? Like, man, this is where I would really like to get in my XRP hodlings. And then once you meet that, then you may want to look into other things, right? So have you got there yet? If you have, we talk about this as well. This is an entirely new asset class. This is the digital asset space. Lots of winners. There's going to be a lot of winners in this bull run. Short term. We don't know about long term. There's only going to be a few long term. So diversify, right? And we talked about how we diversified. The crypto siege is home, right? There's diversified into VeChain as an example, right? We talked about owning some Kava at one point, right? And diversified into ERD and other projects as well, right? Algo. So yeah. But I think it's important to mentally get it, And look, this is a fact. The alts tend to move first ahead of XRP. XRP lags behind and then it outgains. That's what happened in 2017. So just to give you some perspective, guys. Let's go. All right, so let's get into this thing here real quick. Listen, this is your XRP Ripple daily news in around 0 to 10 minutes. So shout out to Mark Phillips. Mark Phillips, the guy who just went out there and just laid out XRP was designed to be $10,000 per XRP. It was a great write-up on Medium. I suggest you check it out if you haven't read that. So Mark Phillips tweets on Twitter, Beijing unveiled a plan to turn the capital into a hub for blockchain tech, and outlines DLT applications, including a digital identity platform, government data sharing platform, and unified social credit applications, all capable of cross-chain interaction. There's another article about, someone tweeted about Singapore. This is from Michael at Val5Links, Linx. Always, him and Mark, always adding value to the community every single day. Shout out to those guys for sharing and adding value to the community. So Michael says, a recent report informs that Singapore has developed a fully functional blockchain-based payment network, allowing faster and cheaper international settlements. The team behind it, including investment giant Temasek and U.S. multinational bank J.P. Morgan. We all know I really am excited about what's going on in Singapore. A lot of people are excited about Zilliqa because it's out of Singapore. They think a lot of things are going to happen with Zil. I know we saw a big pump, but I believe it can retrace just as well back. But my point to this is that China, Singapore, South Korea, Japan, they are moving forward at a rapid pace. What is the United States doing? Is really a big question. So I came across this video from the people at Forecast News, if you will. And this is Angie Lau, and she's interviewing Crypto Mom. She's interviewing Crypto Mom. So I'm going to share some of that as well. But I want to go over just a bit of each of those two articles. I want to really bring home a point that I think is important. And oh, by the way, SBI in Japan is doing its thing as well. And never ever mistake this fact. Never get this twisted, guys. Mr. Yoshitaka Kitao, a lot of his moves is around the greatest digital asset ever created in XRP. So this is from, shout out to Crypto Eddie. She shared this sometime, I think last night. Quadrat company, which provides high-speed payment and authentication technology for mobility as a service. I've never heard of mobility as a service. Has raised a total of approximately 1.2 billion yen. Okay, so Quadrat has recently completed a total of approximately 1.2 billion yen in funding from SBI Investments and Inco Ltd. SBI Investments. Yeah, so currently in the field of transportation, the concept of MaaS is to provide transportation as a service has permeated, and infrastructure development is progressing in various places to make people move more comfortable and convenient. In Japan, mobility as a service activities towards social implementation are becoming more active, but there are various issues such as how to record comprehensive mobile data, how to realize its utilization, and how to implement various payment methods, including for inbound travelers from overseas. Now, we've already heard Mr. Yoshitaka Kitao go on the record about the Olympics, wanting to use XRP for everybody there when they visit Japan. So this is part of it as well. I believe if it's payments, if it's high-speed payments, if there's an authentication involved with it, Mr. Yoshitaka sees it as a way. Now, I don't know. It looks like he led the round here in his investment in this Quadrat company. So I think it's very, very important to know. Very, very important to know. Okay, so I digress, but I want to go over this article. I just want to point out a couple of things from the Asia Times. Beijing unveils distributed ledger tech plan. Municipal government aims to turn capital into both national and a global blockchain hub. Isn't that interesting? All right, so the municipal government of Beijing has unveiled a 20-point plan to accelerate the development and deployment of distributed ledger technologies and turn the Chinese capital into a global and national hub for blockchain tech. According to an announcement on July 1st, the city seeks to promote theoretical innovation, technological breakthroughs, talent cultivation, and create new economic growth. The government will provide continued financial support for the plan throughout its course. The Beijing Blockchain Innovation Development Action Plan 2020 to 2022 outlines the city's intent to solidify itself as a global leader in both private blockchain innovation and DLT deployment by the end of next year. The point I want to note is that the government will provide continued financial support for the plan throughout its course. So what is the good old US of A doing? What are they doing? Let's go to this article from Crypto Potato about Singapore. Japan, JP Morgan and Singapore's investment giant Temasek have developed a blockchain-based payment network. I find this to be very, very interesting. JP Morgan. So a recent report informs that Singapore has developed a fully functional blockchain-based payment network, allowing faster and cheaper international settlements. The team behind it, including investment giant Temasek and U.S. multinational bank JP Morgan, is finalizing technical details for the prototype, and the final product should arrive soon. According to the report from Reuters, local authorities announced earlier today that the platform called Project Ubin has been developed to serve as a blockchain-based payment network. The project is currently in its fifth and final phase, where the Monetary Authority of Singapore will team up with state-owned investor Temasek and JP Morgan. The trio partnered to develop the network, which facilitates and lowers the cost of international multi-currency payments. Mas and Temasek specified in a joint statement that the prototype will also incorporate several commercial applications. Apart from cross-border payments in multiple currencies, those include foreign currency exchange, settlement of foreign currency denominated securities, and more. An international settlement network modeled after this payments network project prototype could enable faster and cheaper transactions that conventional cross-border payment channels, the two entities added in the announcement. JP Morgan from the good old US of A. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? And that leads me to, you're talking about a major United States powerhouse looking to do things overseas. Why? Because of the US. So let's hear a little bit from Crypto Mom, right? United States regulator, right? Crypto Mom, and Angie Lau. I think it's important to just listen to a bit of this, but I would encourage you to go check this out. It came out July, maybe even this morning. Crypto development could move outside of the US without regulations. SEC Crypto Mom, Hester Peirce. And just go check out Forecast News, like in Forecast News. I want you to listen to just a part of this.
Action, which we've seen over the past couple of years. It also boils down to the Howey test. This is cryptocurrency a security? How is that regarded? The CFTC sees it as one thing, SEC sees it as another. When are we going to get standard definition of a token, cryptocurrency? Are we starting to see the different multi-layers of understanding how it's regarded by the commissioners, how it's regarded by the agencies?
Well, I think that there has been some clarity that's come out, based on the enforcement actions. People can read the tea leaves from that, and they can read the tea leaves certainly from the guidance that our Division of Corporation Finance, our director, put out. But that I've gotten the feedback that that's quite complicated. I think it's quite complicated. I personally have an issue with some of the way that we've been viewing this. I think the way we've been viewing it is in my mind a misapplication of the Howey test, and I've been pretty open about saying that, so this is not news, because I think it's really making it impossible for a project to get started without falling into that Howey definition. And so, that's made me sort of think more broadly. The Howey test has been out there for a long time, and it's been a quite useful framework for us to think about whether an investment contract is in fact a security. But it does lead to some really interesting questions about whether things that none of us might have thought are securities actually are securities. So I think we really need to do a little bit of soul searching to say, well, if we're applying this test in this way in the crypto context, have we been misapplying it in other contexts? And is it much broader than we actually thought? There's a chance that Congress might come in and say, hey, we want you to think about tokens in some other way than through the Howey lens. That's certainly their prerogative to do that. But because they haven't done that yet, we are using the framework that has been passed on through the courts. And that's how our securities law in the US is made, which does distinguish it from some other places, which have much more prescriptive definitions of what it is to be a security. So that, I think that framework is probably here to stay. The safe harbor would at least offer a way to keep the framework, but then allow token projects to move forward with more certainty.
I recently spoke to Christian Carlo, ex-head of CFTC. One of the names.
So one of the things I wanted to point out here, she said that Congress could, adjust the Howey test and have the Howey test adjusted for digital assets, right? She called them tokens, and it's their prerogative to do so. Whether they decide to do so or not is completely up to them. But the fact that it's on the table, I think, is very, very important to note. The SEC is an independent agency, right? And so I don't know when this interview was actually done, and obviously I don't think it was too current. But it is also important to note that executive order that the president signed and enforced and put out there is very, very important, because it does allow for agencies like the SEC and the OCC and the CFPB, which we all know the heads of those particular places are very crypto friendly. It does allow them to move without the restraint of crypto, without the restraint of regulations. And I think it's a very timely executive order that the president signed, and I think that there's a reason behind it. Look, Singapore is out there doing their things. The title of this video is important. Move outside of the U.S. regulation, without regulations. Move outside of the U.S. Now, has there been an administration that I can't remember administration in the last 20 or 30 years that is more terrified, petrified, sickened by the notion of United States companies moving outside of the U.S. than this current administration? So I don't think for a second that this current administration is not going to do everything in their possible, everything within their means, humanly possible, to prevent that from happening. I really, really don't see that at all happening in any way, shape, or form. JP Morgan doing something with Project Ubin. I know that there's some people familiar with that, Project Ubin, and I think maybe even Ion as well. I don't know too much about it for me to comment on it, but the fact that JP Morgan is involved in it is not good for the US. It's just not good, right? Because it's a good old US of A company helping another nation move forward with something. And perhaps because he doesn't feel like he can get something done here. Trust me when I tell you, that is a point of contention. I can guarantee you that. So guys, listen, I'm going to share this here. Go check that video out without question, because I think it is It's hugely important. It was a good listen to. I listened to it while I was preparing for this video. So I'm going to share this and I'm going to end this video here. So shout out to Uncle XRP on Twitter. He always comes out with very, very pointed tweets. I like what he's doing. I see so many people that used to talk about XRP every tweet. Now they're coin hopping and saying, dag, I wish I could have bought Link at $2. I did, and I sold it to get more XRP so that I can hit my milestone, a significant one, by the way. So bought Link at $2. Those are the same people that will buy back in when XRP is at $5 and say the same thing. Shaking my head. People are so dag blinded. And then Anders Lundenberg, another value add to the community without question, says 2017 repeating itself. Nick says it's hilarious, honestly. That is the deal, guys. And this is the thing that I think is so important. When we talk about leveling up our XRP IQ, leveling up our digital asset space IQ, leveling up our financial IQ, we talk about this on the channel a lot about thinking and acting like the wealthy do, thinking and acting like financial institutions do. When you know of a company and you know of a project and you know of an asset that has inherent value, the value that has been proven out, you buy and hold. You buy and hold. You buy and hold, right? So we talk about this all the time. Hey, baby. All the time. So, this channel is about, this channel is not about, oh, okay, sell, cool, you can't wait, cool, sell. This channel is not about that. We are not of that mindset. We are the mindset that helping you continue to strengthen your resolve. Got to understand something, and this is just a fundamental fact. People see things at a lower price as invaluable. Invaluable. They see the price, not worth anything. When it shoots up in price, oh, okay, it's worth something. Now I will go take my money and put it into it. That's not what the wealthy do. They don't look at the price. They look at the value. They look at the fundamentals. They look at the project themselves. And then they go see what's the best price they can get it for. They actually go and try to get the best price for that thing. And that's just a different mindset. It's a different approach. There's nothing, I don't care if it's 16, 18, 15, 14, 13 cents. It didn't take their, almost 400 partnerships down to 200 partnerships. It didn't change the number of partnerships. It's just a matter of time. I get it. We talk about it all the time. And that is the discipline. It's a top shelf project. It's going to cause you to stretch to get to it. That, my friends, is the value of the project. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to wrap up this video like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather us remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating? Or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.